In the last 24 hours, the Nintendo Switch 2 situation has gotten insane. Saturday, I posted a video about a breaking news story that a Spanish leaker known as Nash Weedle had said that there was a Switch 2 dev kit in Spain, and he knew about it, and that it seemed like an announcement was coming soon. Since that moment in time, so many things have happened. So much is going on. I gotta fill you in. And we're gonna flip the script today. Alright, normally I do my quick Nintendo news bites first, big story second. We're gonna do the inverse. Big story first, and then please stay to the end of the video if you wanna know Monday's latest, greatest Nintendo Switch news bites. Alright? Good morning, Mario, and good morning, Switch fans. Yeah, Nintendo Switch 2, the situation has just really blown up over the last 24 hours. We have a ton of different reports coming in from a ton of different places, and all of them are interesting, and some of them are just blatantly false. So we're going to go through them one by one and kind of talk about what's going on and what this is leading to. Okay, so what's going on, everybody? It's Zach from SwitchForce. Hit that like button if you enjoy these videos. It does help a lot. And if you aren't subscribed, join on, because it seems like from now until Switch 2 launch, we are in for a crazy ride. And I want to make sure I guide you there with all sorts of research and the most widespread sort of picture of what's going on. All right, like I mentioned, Nash Weedle was this leaker who correctly leaked Metroid Dread. They're based in Spain, and it seems like they have a connection to Mercury Steam. Mercury Steam, the developers of Metroid Dread, and Mercury Steam, possibly the developer he's referencing, that has a Switch 2 dev kit. Now, there's been some back and forth on who has the dev kit. How long have they had the dev kit? What kind of dev kit is it? But it seems like this is pretty legit. And since then, we have Filippo, who is a verified developer on the Reset Era forums. Normally I pull from Fama boards because that's the Nintendo exclusive forum, but Reset Era is what it used to be before it swapped and sort of spawned off into its own thing. And Filippo says, not surprised, wouldn't be the only one as far as I know, not me though, indicating that his studio does not have a Switch 2 dev kit, but that others in Spain do have Switch 2 dev kits, adding more flames and fuel to the fire that they're out there, that Nintendo has been doing a great job of keeping it locked down. And one of the reasons they may have been doing a great job keeping it locked down is because of this YouTube video coming from a Spanish YouTuber that Nash Weedle liked. Okay, so again, Nash Weedle, Switch 2 dev kit, Spain leaker, Mercury Steam guy, liking this YouTube video, discussing how Nintendo Switch 2 dev kits are out there, but they're using the Pro Controller to keep everything under wraps and to seem as normal as possible. According to this, one of the big innovations for Switch 2 is indeed the controller, and Nintendo does not want any chance of this controller leaking out. So they're utilizing a Pro Controller, right, like the one that you and I can hold, and they're using that to, hey, like, we're gonna have you do a Switch 2 dev kit, but it's a Pro Controller, so nobody can tell the difference, and you don't know our secret. I thought for the longest time Nintendo would just enter Switch 2 with a more powerful, beefy Switch. This is pointing to Nintendo doing something very Nintendo-like and adding some sort of gimmick or some sort of brand new bold idea that they don't want anybody to take away from. Now, I'm kind of telling you this in chronological order because it really factors in and makes important sense with the next leak. And this one, I'm just going to say straight off the bat, I think is 100% fake, or at least like 99.7. This comes from 4chan, which already brews suspicion, but then they're saying that they're a TSA worker, right? They're one of the airport people that checks your ID and helps you scan your bags, and they're saying that someone came through with a locked case, and the case set off the alarm in the machine. They asked to go back to a private room because in this case was a video game console prototype, a dev kit, if you will, and they said it looked like a modem but large, and that it had interesting scroll wheels on the controllers by the shoulder buttons. So we're talking about like mouse scroll wheels, right? Like a scroll wheel by the triggers, which seems very odd. They also go on to say that this person had Nintendo business cards and that they worked in R&D, research and development, and they were taking this prototype somewhere. So this leak is surmising that there are dev kits being personally delivered by Nintendo employees to certain studios. That's not that crazy, but the likelihood that it flares up at TSA and a TSA agent posts this and has all these details and scroll wheel triggers, very strange. Now I will let you know that just this morning, this supposed TSA person posted a picture of their TSA badge along with the date. We know they're at least an actual US TSA agent, but did they come across a Nintendo Switch prototype that had to be taken to a secure area and shown off and looked like a home console with a controller, far less like a hybrid device? I just find it really hard to believe. Now, I'll add my own little personal anecdote here, which is that one time I was traveling back home from PAX West in Seattle, and I had an Xbox 360. No, it was Xbox One. I had Xbox One with me. It was the Advanced Warfare Edition. It beeped in their scanner, and they said, "Do you have the plug?" And I said, "No." Somehow the plug got separated and it was in my check bag, and I was taking this in my carry-on. And they said, "Okay, well, we have to keep it." And I said, "What do you mean?" They said, "Well, we need you to be able to plug it in." And I thought this was a bit odd, but then the gentleman went on to tell me that they actually have a lot of supposed game consoles and game things that did not have the plugs that they kept. Now, I don't know if this was their own sort of nefarious scheme or if this was protocol back in 2015-ish, but it was very odd. I just want you to know that TSA people do have some knowledge sometimes of video game stuff and do take it and look at it. I don't want to add validity or put any flames to this fire, but it's a weird story that I don't think is real. Yet, if we go and connect back the dots, there is a Nintendo patent from a few years ago where Nintendo was patenting scroll wheel technology on the shoulder buttons that would in theory be used for better menu navigation and possibly in racing games for acceleration or things of that sort. I don't buy it, I don't believe it, but I do want to point out that Nintendo did file a patent for this, and in 2019, Miyamoto said that he was ready and wanting to reinvent the controller, and that was after the Switch Joy-Cons had been well revealed, well released, and well iterated with all sorts of different colors. So we're getting a lot of controller-based stuff right now, which is interesting because so much of the Switch 2 discussion has focused on the specs. It's focused on the power, and I think for me, it's had me sort of avoid or not even consider what if Nintendo went real crazy with a new controller or a new gimmick or this new idea for this system. Now, on top of all of this, the TSA stuff, Filippo over on Reset Era, we have had more and more people say like, oh, like Switch 2 dev kits and oh, here's the power specs. And I think a lot of it is just sort of building off of it, right? There is a certain level of like, oh, this is hot, this is the hype, let's just try and piggyback off of this. So I'm really trying to just sift through, and I think, if I'm honest with you, I think Nash Weedle is being truthful. I think there is a Switch 2 dev kit in Spain. What that means for an imminent release or not, I don't know. The idea here would be that Nintendo would provide their first party and Japanese partners with dev kits first, and then it would go out to European partners second. So if Mercury Steam does have one, it could be further along the line. I'll give you one last story, which is that there's another YouTube video supposedly talking about the factory uncle, who you might remember from months and months ago. There's this factory uncle, which is a Chinese factory worker that supposedly has insider information about Nintendo's production line, and apparently it's panned out in the past, but this user was actually banned months ago in what we thought was a preemptive strike from Nintendo to protect from leaks in the coming months and or years. Apparently though, this factory uncle somehow is reporting that this factory, or a different person at this factory is reporting that this factory is now in production of Switch 2. But again, I put this more with the TSA one and say like, I think this is just people like excited, want to get a little bit of clout and piggybacking off of it. I think there are Switch 2 dev kits in Spain. I know that the NX dev kit went to the developers of SteamWorld Dig. All right, they got a Switch NX dev kit and they posted a video saying we're like the first European developers with an NX dev kit because they were working on SteamWorld Dig 2, and SteamWorld Dig 2 came out like a year into the Switch's life cycle, meaning like maybe Mercury Steam's game is not meant for launch, but instead meant for a year down the road or a year and a half or 2 years down the road, which could line up for an earlier launch. All of this is insane, and we will have to wait for Nintendo to make some sort of announcement, if there's any announcement at all. July seems like a good month for that if it was going to release in 2023. October seems like a good month for that if it was going to release in early 2024. June 2024 seems like a good announcement month for that if it was to release in holiday 2024. So we have all sorts of different sliding scales of when this could get announced, what's going on, but I will tell you this. There is definitely more smoke building. At a time when a lot of people are excited about new Switch games, Mario Wonder, Mario RPG, and a lot of people are excited about a new Switch, all sorts of rumors, theories, and thoughts, there is much more smoke. Is that coincidence? I think not. I think that there is a building buzz that this thing is going to be coming soon. Does soon mean in 5 months? Does soon mean in a year and a half? I don't know, but I think we can rule out 2025. I'm just going to say that right here. This system is coming within the next 18 months. There is smoke building, and I bet it continues to build. I bet we get more and more leaks, but it's going to take a very discerning eye to sift through what is real and what is not. And it's super important to look at the person's pedigree, their past leaks, important to look at who's vouching for them. In the case of Reset Era, saying this is a verified developer, they've proven they're a developer. So when Flippo says not surprised, won't be the only one as far as I know, I'm very likely to trust him. We're going to have to look through this and see who's trying to build clout, who's just piggybacking off reports, who's jumping to conclusions, and who has actual facts. But right now, Switch 2 dev kits seem to be in Spain, and that means that something is coming. I don't know when, but it's coming. And this TSA situation with scroll wheels, I wouldn't get too worried yet. Nintendo might go quirky with the controllers, but I don't know if scroll wheels are the thing. Whew. That was a lot. It's been a very crazy 24 hours. Nintendo did make some nice little moves in the news, and one of them is that Tears of the Kingdom is back #1 in the UK. This game continues to sell super well, and it absolutely usurped Final Fantasy 16, which started off on fire, and now has dropped over 80% since launch in the UK. Tears of the Kingdom back #1. It's going to be one of the biggest best sellers for the entire Switch generation, for the entire system. Also, Nintendo and LEGO announced 2 new LEGO sets. We've got Larry and Morton's airships. Pretty darn cool. Bowser's Kids coming into full effect. I really hope Bowser's Kids are not in Mario Bros. Wonder. Although the timing of these guys getting added in Mario Bros. Wonder, I don't know. Is there something there? I hope it's new villains and new exciting enemies. It's obviously Bowser. We saw him with a new powered airship. But I hope his kids are either grown up or doing something different. I don't know. Maybe they went to go work at Walmart. Perhaps they have their own fish farm. I don't know. I'd love it if they were a tour guide in a national park. I don't want to see them Wendy-O blowing kisses and rings as the boss. But we do have these LEGO sets, and they're coming out. Pre-orders are open. They're coming August 1st, but it's $80. You get both of them. That's at least nice. We also have confirmation that Disney Speedstorm, a very competent Mario Kart clone with Disney characters, is going to be coming free to play to Switch on September 28th. It'll also be free to play on other consoles and PC, but Switch obviously is our focus here, and this previously has been available for purchase. You needed to buy a Founders Pack to get in, you got some currency, you got some characters, but you had to pay. And I think this game becomes far more interesting once it is free to play, and it can be a free Mario Kart competitor or accessory, meaning you don't dip out on Mario Kart with a new wave coming and another wave after that and more characters being added. But it's a fun and competent racer that does sort of feel like Mario. It's more car-based. I don't think it's as fun and crazy. The controls are like 90% of the way there, but maybe not 100. It does have cool items and a bunch of characters, and they are iterating with lots of seasons and, yeah, microtransactions. But to start, it is free, and if you want to race as Steamboat Willie or Moana or Mike and Sully from Monsters Inc., it's a pretty good game that I definitely give at least like 1 thumbs up to, and it's going to be free on September 28th. Might as well give it a download. We should have Wave 5 before then, thinking August launch for Wave 5 at this point, still a ways off. But yeah, Speedstorm getting free to play, like Dreamlight Valley, it's a good move. And Disney and Gameloft have put together 2 pretty darn good titles, which is surprising and shocking and kind of cool. Let me know what you think about all of today's Nintendo Switch news, including the Switch 2 explosion, in the comments down below. What do you believe? What don't you believe? And what does this mean for when the system's coming out and where it's going next? And would you like a scroll wheel to navigate your menu on your trigger instead of a D-pad? Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, stay positive out there. Until next time, SwitchForce out.